I'm Ray Horner. 14 minutes after 8 o'clock, and it's time to go to film school. One of my favorite parts of the week, having a chance to sit down and talk with film study professor, my good friend Joe Fortunato, on board with us as we go to film school here at 93.5, 1590 WAKR. And today we're going to one of the movies, and I'll admit this, Joe, that every time I see it on, I have to stop. It's a movie that never burned with me. I find it funny, entertaining, and so well done. And I'm going to let Joe take it from there. Joe Fortunato, it's your turn.
Good morning, Ray. Good morning, everybody. And you know, Ray, I'm right there with you on this one. Today we are going to discuss and celebrate the 35th anniversary, if you can believe it, of When Harry Met Sally from 1989, released July 21st, 1989, directed by Rob Reiner, written by Nora Ephron, starring Billy Crystal, Meg Ryan, Carrie Fisher, Bruno Kirby. The film had one Oscar nomination for Best Screenplay, didn't win any, won a lot of comedy awards that year, but not a lot of Oscar love, but it's been beloved ever since. And I'm just going to say it flat out. I think this is my favorite romantic comedy of all time.
Yeah.
I think it's so witty, so smart, charming, everything. And the film was ranked number 6 on the AFI's list of 10 greatest romantic comedy films of all time. They do subgenres list as well. The famous quote, and we're going to talk a lot about this, I'll have what she's having, was not only voted number 33 on the AFI's list of the best movie quotes, but it's the only quote on that list spoken by a non-professional actor. I think a lot of people already know this, but if you didn't, the woman in that scene that says, I'll have what she's having, is actually Rob Reiner's mother, Estelle Reiner. And she delivered the line. She was not a professional actress. She'd been around show business all her life with her husband and her son, but not a professional actress. So that was the only dialogue ever delivered on film by her. And according to Nora Ephron, the writer, that line was actually suggested by Billy Crystal. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. The film was definitely a success. It had a very modest budget of $16 million and grossed in the United States $92 million. So a good return on investment there. The segments, for those who know the film, they know that sort of interspersed throughout, there are segments of married couples, younger and older, mostly older, telling stories of how they met. And those are actually real stories that director Rob Reiner collected for the film. Then he hired actors to relay the stories. So there are actors on screen, but the stories themselves are actually real stories from people that Reiner met and collected. Now, Harry and Sally's final interview, they have their interview at the end. That was completely improvised by them. So a little fun bit with those funny segments that are interspersed throughout the film. Now, I promised we would talk about the famous I'll have what she's having scene. That scene, the original script called for Harry and Sally to really just talk about women faking orgasms until Meg Ryan suggested that Sally actually faked it at the table. Rob Reiner loved the idea, put it into the script, and then he actually rehearsed it with them and kind of showed them how to do so. Somewhere there's probably footage of Rob Reiner doing that fake orgasm. The scene was shot at Katz's Deli, which is an actual restaurant in New York. And if you go there today, they have a plaque on that seat that says, "Where Harry meets Sally, hope you have what she had." So they're playing into that sort of, film tourism. At the test screening that they had for the movie, Rob Reiner reported that during that fake scene, I keep not wanting to say the word, but that fake O scene, all of the women in the audience laughed uproariously, while all of the men in the audience were silent. In fact, I'm having trouble saying it on air, but at the time, that scene was edited out of some of the airline prints of the film. So I think we've come quite a long way in our appreciation of the humor.
Joe, I could not imagine anyone else but Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal in this. And I guess my question is, when Rob Reiner was putting this together, were those his first choices? And then along the line of casting, many people might forget that Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia, had a big role in this movie as well.
Yeah, she absolutely did. Her and I said Bruno Kirby, they were Harry and Sally's best friends and kind of the people they bounce their frustrations out on. But in terms of casting, you're right. Of course, there's always the who's who of Hollywood at any given time. Tom Hanks turned down the role of Harry, thought the film was a little too lightweight. He was actually going through a divorce on his own, and his experience was he was having kind of a good time being single and free, so he couldn't really relate. Michael Keaton was considered, Albert Brooks, Bill Murray, Jeff Bridges, Harrison Ford, all of them considered before Billy Crystal was cast. On the side of Sally, Reiner originally wanted Susan Day of the Partridge Family, L.A. Law. She was in L.A. Law at that time, so she had resurrected her career. He also approached Elizabeth Perkins, Elizabeth McGovern, even Molly Ringwald. But at this time, Meg Ryan was really starting to lobby hard for the part. Now, what's kind of interesting at the end that both Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal got cast, Meg Ryan was only 27 at the time, and Billy Crystal was 40. Now, Billy Crystal is so youthful looking, we don't really think of that age gap there with the two of them, but that's the reality of that. Another sort of fun segment throughout the film is the concept of Sally being a picky eater, and that was actually based on the screenwriter Nora Ephron herself. Years after the movie came out, Ephron was on a plane and she ordered something very precise. The stewardess looked at her and said, "Have you ever seen the movie When Harry Met Sally?" And Sally's picky eating habits, that Rob Reiner put that in the film when he was having lunch with Nora Ephron. She's ordering her food the same way Sally does in the film. Reiner brought this up, and she says, "I just want what I want," and that was the line that goes into the film.
Great stuff. When Harry Met Sally, and I think Joe and I are both on the same page. You heard us a few minutes ago. It's one like on a Saturday or Sunday evenings, I'm flipping and I see When Harry Met Sally, and I just have to stop it and watch the doggone thing. It's one of those movies, and I don't have a whole lot of them, to be honest with me. Jaws is one, couple of the Rockies and that type of thing. But when Harry Met Sally is on, I always stop and watch the movie. I get smiles. I love the way, and you put it there well, when they go back and look at the stories of the older couples and then the arguing and the disagreeing, and they come back together, and it's got everything in it, right?
It does, and I'll cap it off with just one or two more observations here. Most romantic comedies, there's a boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back and stuff. And we've kind of just come to accept that's kind of the template for romantic comedies. This one is actually a little different. It doesn't have those cliches of the contrived misunderstanding that keeps the leads apart. The only thing that's keeping Harry and Sally apart are their own various neuroses, which is comical and realistic, frankly. And the other thing too, and I think this would have been a huge mistake, and I'm glad Rob Reiner didn't do this, but in the first draft of the film, Harry and Sally don't end up together. It was only later that Nora Ephron and Rob Reiner decided that they belong together, and I think a collective nation thanks them for that, because that's actually how we want the movie to end.
Well, it's a terrific film school today with Joe Fortunato. And by the way, if you want to take it in person, it's about a month away now, Joe. You and I are going to be at Jilly's again for a holiday version. I'll let you give the details.
Yeah, today, it's literally almost a month away. December 7th, that's a Saturday morning, at Jilly's Music Room, downtown Akron. We are going to be doing Fortunato Film School live. And we do this a couple of times a year, so it doesn't happen often. You want to get your tickets and get down there. And for those who don't know what that is, we will screen a movie together, and I will do live commentary on the movie as it's going. So you're going to learn a lot about the movie, see things you never saw. We are going to do, in celebration of the holidays, Die Hard, which is sort of our little tongue-in-cheek nod to the pop culture debate. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not? And we can certainly discuss that. But Die Hard being a classic popular action film, we're going to do that one. And so if you love the movie Die Hard, come on down and watch it with us, and you'll learn a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. If you've never seen Die Hard, what are you waiting for? Take that and check it off your list and come down and join us. So it's good for either group of people, fans or people who've never seen it. Good for the whole family. It's a lot of fun. And Jilly's has a wonderful brunch. The brunch starts at 11 a.m. The film will start at 12 noon. and come on down, have some brunch, watch the film, learn a little something, have some fun. And the tickets are only $5. And if you buy brunch, Jilly's going to apply that $5 to the brunch. So essentially, the event itself is free, and you're just enjoying a world-class brunch there at Jilly's. And by the way, the tickets are the reserved seating. You can pick where you want to sit in the room. So it's a good idea to get your tickets now, so you have the first choice of where you want to sit.
Yeah, and it's really grown. This will be our fourth installment of this. We started out a year or so ago with Raiders of the Lost Ark. We then did Psycho, and this past summer Jaws, and this time, as Joe mentioned, for the, quote, holidays, we're doing Die Hard. So as Joe mentioned, get your reserve tickets and tables now. Looking forward to seeing you again in December for another film school on the road. And Joe, if you haven't...
I didn't say where to get them. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Joe.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you can go on Facebook and search Fortunato Film School Die Hard. You can find it there, and there's a link there. Or if you just want to go directly, you can go to Jilly's website, and they have a calendar link, and right there you can get your tickets online. So both of those ways of getting tickets are live and available right now.
Yeah, it's fabulous. Joe does a great job of describing it. I don't want to say play by play, but what he really does is take you behind the scenes on certain angles and the stories and the scripts, and why they use this certain angle. It's fabulous. And if you enjoy film school with Joe with us on Fridays, you'll really get deep into the woods with this film presentation, Film School on the Road with Joe Fortunato, coming up at Jilly's. Joe, as always, my friend, thanks for the time to visit on Fridays. We'll do it again next week.
I look forward to it. See you then.
All right, you got it. Joe Fortunato taking us to film school today when Harry met Sally.